Emacs tutorial. CN for copying conditions. Emacs commands generally involve the control key, often labeled control, or meta key, usually labeled alt. Rather than writing that in full each time, we'll be using the following abbreviations. C character means hold the control key while typing the character. CHR, thus control F would be holding down the control key and typing F. Meta M character means holding the meta or alt key while typing character. If there is no meta or alt key, instead press and release the escape key and then type character. We write escape for escape key. Important note: to end the Emacs session, type Ctrl X Ctrl C, two characters. To quit a partially entered command, type Ctrl G. To stop the tutorial, type Ctrl X K, then return at the prompt. The characters right angle bracket twice. The left margin indicates directions for you to try using a command. For instance, middle of the page, left blank for didactic purposes. Text continues below. Now type Ctrl V. View next screen to scroll down the tutorial. Go ahead, do it now by holding down the Ctrl key while typing V. From now on, please do this whenever you reach end of the screen. V. Note that there is an overlap of two lines when you scroll a whole screen full. This provides some continuity, so you can continue reading the text. This is a copy of the Emacs tutorial text, customized slightly for you. Later on, we will instruct you to try various commands to alter this text. Don't worry if you can change this text before we tell you to. That's called editing, and that's what Emacs is for. The first thing you need to know is how to move around from place to place in the text. You already know how to move forward one screen with Ctrl V. Now move backwards one screen with Meta V. Hold down the Meta key and type V, or type Escape V if you don't have the Meta or Alt key. Try typing Meta V and then Ctrl V a few times. It is okay to scroll this text in other ways if you know how. Summary: the following commands are useful for viewing screenfuls. Ctrl V, move forward one screenful. Meta V, move backward one screenful. Ctrl L, clear the screen and redisplay all the text, moving the text around the cursor to the center of the screen. Ctrl L. That's Ctrl L. Or Ctrl 1. Find the cursor, note that text is near it. Then type Ctrl L and find the cursor again. Notice that the same text is still near the cursor, but now it is in the center of the screen. If you press Ctrl L again, this will place the text. This piece of text will move to the top of the screen. Press Ctrl L again, it moves to the bottom. You can also use page up and page down keys to move by screenfuls if your terminal has them, but you can edit more efficiently if you use Control V and Meta V. Basic cursor tutorial. Moving from screenful to screenful is useful, but how do you move to a specific place within the text on your screen? There are several ways you can do this. You can use arrow keys, but it is more efficient to keep the hands in the standard position and use the commands Control P, Control B, Control F, and Control N. These characters are equivalent to the 4 arrow keys like this: previous line Control P, previous line Control P, backward Control B, current cursor position forward Control F, X line Control N. Move cursor to the line in the middle of the diagram. Control N and Control P, then type Control L to see all diagrams centered in the screen. You will find it easy to remember these characters by words. They stand for: P for previous, N for next, B for backward, F for forward. You will be using these basic cursor positioning commands all the time. Do a few control N's to bring the cursor to this line. Move to the line with Control F's and then up with Control P's. Move to the line with Control F's and then up with Control P's. See, Control P does when cursor is in the middle of the screen. Each line of text ends with a new line character, which serves to separate it from the following line. Normally, the last line in the file will have a new line at the end, but Emacs does not require it. Try Control V at the beginning of the line. It should move to the end of previous line. This is because it moves back across the new line character. Beginning of the line, so new line character. Control F can move across a new line just like Control V. Do a few more Control B so that you can feel for where the cursor is. Then do Control F to return to the end of the line and then end of the line. Then do one more Control F to move to the following line. When you move past the top or bottom of the screen, text beyond the edge shifts onto the screen. This is called scrolling. It enables Emacs to move the cursor to specified place in text without moving it off the screen. Try to move the cursor off the bottom of the screen with Control N and then see what happens. If moving by characters is too slow, you can move by words Meta F, moves forward a word, and meta B moves backwards a word. Type a few meta Fs and meta Bs. When you are in the middle of a word, meta F moves to the word end of the word. When you are in white space between words, meta F moves to the end of the following word. Meta B works likewise in opposite direction. Type meta F, meta B few times interspaced with control Fs and control Bs so that you can observe the action of meta F, meta B from various places inside and between words. Notice the parallel between control F and control B on the other hand, and meta F and meta B on the other hand. Very often meta characters are used for operations related to units defined by language, words, sentences, paragraphs, while control characters operate on basic units that are independent of what you are editing, characters, lines, etc. This parallel applies between lines and sentences. Control A and Control E move to the beginning or end of the line. Meta A and meta E moves to the beginning or end of the sentence. Try a couple of Control A's and then couple of Control E's. Control A, Control E, Control A, Control E. Try a couple of meta A's and meta E's. Meta A, meta E. See how repeated Control A does nothing but repeated meta A keeps moving one more sentence. Although these are not quite analogous, each one seems natural. The location of the cursor in the text is also called point. To paraphrase, the cursor shows on the screen where the point is located in the text. The location of the cursor in the text is also called point. To paraphrase, the cursor shows on the screen where point is located in the text. Here's a summary of simple cursor moving operations including the word and sentence moving operations. Commands. Control F, move forward a character. Control B, move backward a character. Meta F, move forward a word. Meta B, move backward a word. Control N, move to next line. Control P, move to previous line. Control A, move to the beginning of the line. Control E, move to end of the line. Meta A, move back to beginning of the sentence. Try move back to end of the sentence. Try all these commands a few times for practice. These are the most often used commands. Meta A, meta E. Meta write should also work the same way. Oh no, meta write is same as okay. Meta E dice move to end of the line. Meta write moves one word. Okay, so command write moves to end of the line. Command right in Mac is same as Control E. Command left in Mac is same as Control A. Option or meta right on Mac is same as meta F, and meta B is same as option left. Okay. Okay. Shift right and left highlights the line. Okay. Okay. Control B. Okay. Two other important cursor motions are meta left, meta less than, which moves to the beginning of the old text, and meta right, meta greater than, which moves to the end of the old text. On most terminals, the less than is above the comma, so you must use the shift key to type it. On these terminals, you must use the shift key to type meta less than also without the shift key. So you'll be typing comma. So meta comma. Okay, not this. Try meta less than. To move to the beginning of the tutorial, then use Control V repeatedly to move back here. Okay. Meta shift comma and Control V. Try meta right. And then meta V to go back. You can also move the cursor with arrow keys. If your terminal has arrow keys, we recommend learning Control B, Control F, Control N, Control P for three reasons. First, they work on all kinds of terminals. Second, once you gain practice at using Emacs, you will find that typing these control characters is faster than typing the arrow keys, because you do not have to move your hands away from touch typing position. Third, once you form the habit of using these control characters or command, you can easily learn to use other advanced cursor motion commands as well. Most Emacs commands accept a numeric argument. For most commands, this serves as a repeat count. The way you give a command a repeat count is by typing Ctrl U and then the digits before you type the command. If you have a meta or alt key, there is another alternative way to enter the numeric command. Type the digits while holding down the meta key. We recommend learning to use the Ctrl U method because it works on any terminal. The numeric argument is also called prefix argument because you type the argument before the command it applies to. For instance, Ctrl U 8 Ctrl F moves forward 8 characters. Try using Ctrl N Ctrl P with numeric argument to move the cursor to a line near this one with just one command. Okay, so go back to some place. Control U6, Control 10. Okay. Most commands use the numeric argument as a repeat count, but some commands use it in some other way. Several commands, but for one of those you have learned so far, use it as a flag. The presence of a prefix argument, regardless of its value, makes the command to do something different. Control V and meta V are another kind of exception. When you give an argument, they scroll the text up or down by that many lines rather than the screen full. For example, Control U 8 Control V scrolls by 8 lines. Try typing Control U 8 Control V now. Control U 8 Control V. This should have scroll the text up by 8 lines. If you would like to scroll it down again, you can give an argument to meta V. Scroll it down again, you can give an argument to meta V. If you're using a graphical display such as X or MS Windows, there should be a tall rectangular area called scroll bar on one side of the Emacs window. You can scroll text by clicking the mouse in the scroll bar, which is this. If your mouse has a wheel button, you can use this to scroll as well. If Emacs stops responding to your commands, you can stop it safely by typing Ctrl G. You can use Ctrl G to stop a command which is taking long to execute. You can also use Ctrl G to discard a numeric argument or the beginning of a command, so you do not have to finish. Type Ctrl U 100, make a numeric argument of 100, then type Ctrl G. Now type Ctrl F. It should move just one character because you cancel the argument with Ctrl G. Ctrl U 100, Ctrl U 100, Ctrl N, okay, Ctrl U 100, Ctrl G. Quit. If you have typed an escape by mistake, you can get rid of it with the Ctrl G.